The latest Paris Fashion Week wrapped up Tuesday in the French capital with the latest from Yves Saint Laurent. That was one of many iconic fashion houses or designers to unveil their new fall and winter ready-to-wear looks. As per usual, though, most of the looks on the runway seem to be built for women of a certainly very tall and thin size, with a distinct lack of plus-size models on the runways. Well, we're going to do a little debrief of how Paris Fashion Week did on the inclusivity scale now with Erin Zhurkin. She's the author of the book Plus Size in Paris. Erin, welcome back to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me once again. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Erin, it's really interesting because in other fashion weeks around the world, there was often at least one fashion influencer or a media outlet doing some kind of body inclusivity report after the fashion shows, but no one seemed to be doing that in France. Why?
Yeah, I think it's a really great question. I've always asked that question about it when I lived in France and they were starting to kind of do these inclusivity reports in other parts of the world, like the UK. Felicity Hayward has done one. She's a really well-known plus size model herself who's now an influencer and is really trying hard to keep this conversation up in the forefront. And so she does these reports every season, but that's coming out of the UK. And then she'll do one for, New York and also Milan, but there's no one in France doing this. And I just look at it and I say how powerful that would be if it comes from France, where the epicenter of all of it is happening, you know?
Well, right. Well, does it surprise you that France is kind of slow on the uptake, that no one's really stepped into those shoes here?
No, not at all. It doesn't
Why?
surprise me at all. Well, it's kind of the reason why I wrote my book. It was because it wasn't a subject or a cultural thing that felt that it was important for people to highlight, that this is happening. I think that there are quite a few groups now that are coming up, and I see them online now more and more from France. And I think it'd be great if they would take it and make it into these reports, after every fashion show to keep the topic alive there in France, in Paris.
It certainly seems like it would have more impact if these reports actually originated from the fashion scene in France. So maybe there is some plus size French influencer out there who can get on that.
I hope so. I hope so.
Erin, in your book, Plus Size Paris, you have your main character, Abby, who is a body positive influencer, and she takes on a fictional haute couture house called Claudette for their lack of body diversity. I mean, go back to when you were writing the book. Why did you choose that route?
I chose that route because I felt like that the haute couture is like as you said last time we talked, the creme de la creme, right, of the fashion world. And I felt like that if I went there, fictionally in the imagination of what is possible and what could be, then maybe people would start to see that it is possible. It is possible for women to wear those gorgeous dresses, those beautiful pieces of art on the runway and be seen. And also, haute couture, those dresses are made specifically for each person that's wearing them. So they're making a special dress anyway. So why are we not making dresses for all sizes then?
And so what did you think about these most recent Paris Fashion Week shows in ready to wear? Was there any progress anywhere?
No, I mean, it's pretty dismal. I don't know what else to say. It was really dismal. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 that I actually saw in all the shows that I went through and watched. And yeah, I mean, I know that Sinead O'Dwyer, she's an Irish designer, and she's really trying hard to keep this up again on the forefront as well. And I love her approach. Her approach is now, it's not about showing it's about showing all bodies, but also just having a community where people feel they can wear whatever she designs. So I think it's a really wonderful approach to it.
So Erin, that was for Paris Fashion Week that just wrapped up on Tuesday. But fashion weeks happen all over the world. What about other locations, places like Milan, London, New York? I mean, do we see any more signs of inclusivity there?
No, Milan was, I think, maybe 3 or 4 I saw on the whole show. It's just like less than 1%. New York was really dismal as well. It was like less than 1%. So it's definitely taken a real serious backslide now. We're definitely seeing that, play out, which is really sad.
A backslide because there was a peak. I mean, if we can call it a peak, a few years ago where it seemed like you did see more different body types on the runway. I mean, tell me about that and why you think it changed.
Well, I think I think there was kind of a look at it as a trend that, it was more trendy to have different body sizes and larger bodies on the runway. I think that trend is now kind of backslided a little bit because of the focus on getting slimmer, and there's a lot of options now with them for people to become slimmer. And that's not a judgment for my, I don't, people can do whatever they want with their bodies. It's their decision. It's their, that's their, whatever they want to do. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about just that there's a feeling that, well, maybe we can go back here because this is happening from the fashion houses, so to speak.
And just a glimmer of light, if there is one, before we wrap up. I mean, was there any glimmer of hope anywhere? New designers, something perhaps in men's fashion, anything that kind of kept it real?
Yeah, no, like I said, there's this one very wonderful men's plus size model, James Corbin, and he's really trying hard to do the shows that he can do. He did a great piece in the BBC about, his work and his effort to keep the male plus size, larger bodied representation going. So he's a highlight. I think that also there's designers that are actually doing beautiful gowns and dresses for the award shows, which I think is also important. So any, actors that are needing to be in larger dresses or larger, they're doing beautiful pieces of work with those designs. So that's also representation, but it's in a different, different kind of site, viewing. So.
All right. Well, Erin, we do appreciate your input. Do stay on top of this for us. Erin Zhurkin, they're the author of Plus Size in Paris. Thanks so much for talking, Erin.
Thanks. Bye-bye.